Welcome to Connections with BC, where we explore the intersection of faith and science in relationships and connections. Today we're launching a new series called Myths and Messages, and this is the introductory episode. I'm your host, BC Eden. We are joined by our butterfly correspondents, Gina and Mick. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, BC. It's a pleasure to join you.
Culture isn't neutral in its impact. It shapes how we approach intimacy, commitment, and community. And when cultural messages are unhealthy, they can undermine quality relationships. In this 3-part series, we'll explore cultural messages that shape not just our relational expectations, but the stories that we tell ourselves about what's safe, what's possible, and what's worth hoping for when it comes to love, trust, and belonging. In the remaining segment today, we'll set the scene for those foundational scriptures, passages written to the New Testament church about navigating the cultural blur of the Roman Empire. We also offer a companion study guide, so you'll want to check it out. I'm going to hand it over to Gina, who's going to walk us through the cultural implications of Rome.
Thanks, BC. Roman culture during Paul's time was structured around hierarchy, dominance, and public honor. Social status shaped everything, from legal rights to relationships. One of the most defining features was the patronage system. Wealthy patrons offered protection and influence, and in return, clients gave loyalty and public praise. Marriage, friendship, and community were filtered through this lens of power and obligation. Vulnerability wasn't a virtue, it was a liability, and relational decisions were often shaped by what preserved status. Religious life was performative and deeply political. Participation in rituals, whether honouring household gods, civic deities, or the imperial cult, was expected. These acts reinforced loyalty to empire and social order. Paul's message of sacrificial love and spiritual renewal wasn't just countercultural, it was disruptive. It invited people to live relationally in a way that challenged the cultural narrative.
Thank you, Gina. Mick, how were the Greeks similar or dissimilar?
Greek culture during Paul's time was shaped by a deep respect for reason, rhetoric, and philosophical inquiry. The mind was central. Logic and self-mastery were considered virtues, and public discourse was a key part of civic life. Society was organized around the city-state. Each had its own identity, laws, and patron deities. Citizenship meant active participation in public life, voting, debating, and serving on councils. The Greeks inherited a pantheon of gods seen as powerful forces tied to nature, fate, and civic order. Participation in rituals, sacrifices, festivals, temple offerings, wasn't about personal devotion. It was about civic duty, tradition, and maintaining favor with the divine forces that govern life in society.
Thank you, Mick. Gina, we certainly see the Jewish culture at the time experiencing conflicting messages. What were those and why?
Thanks, BC. Jewish culture was centered on ritual purity, law, and communal identity. Purity mattered most in the temple system, where access to worship and sacrifice was tightly regulated. Daily life was shaped by religious customs, from Sabbath observance to dietary laws to purification rituals. Society was structured around religious authority and local interpretation. Key figures included rabbis, who taught and interpreted the law; Pharisees, influential civic religious leaders who helped structure how ritual practices were observed in local communities; Sadducees, a priestly elite tied to the temple and political power; the Sanhedrin, the ruling council that oversaw legal and religious matters. There were also distinct groups: Essenes, who lived on the fringes of Jewish society and practiced separation; those who believed Jesus was the Messiah; those who expected a political deliverer to overthrow Roman rule; and many who were simply trying to survive under Roman occupation and religious tension. Unlike surrounding cultures, Jews worshipped one God, but they lived in a world filled with Roman and Greek deities, temples, and rituals. Navigating that tension between monotheism and empire was part of daily life. particularly for those living in non-Jewish regions.
Thank you. As we've seen, the Roman Empire was home to a wide range of cultures. In that world, Jesus' message was radical. He didn't emphasize power, pedigree, or ritual. It's not the Greek ideal of intellectual mastery, but rather a call to spiritual renewal. He introduced new morality and a value framework, one that challenged the long-held assumptions of the ancient world. And he invited people into a kingdom not built on hierarchy, but on transformation. Join us next time as we kick off Part 1, Biblical Foundations, and we begin in 2 Corinthians. You won't want to miss it.